Hello, hello. My name is Carrie Harper, and I am the creator of the ABC method. And this evening, I'm going to talk you through what that is, what that means, and what the certificate course is for trainers, instructors, and coaches. So I'm going to share my screen because when I do, it helps me stay on track with what I wanted to talk about. And I will leave space at the end to chat and take questions. So the ABC method is a method actually that has been developed over the last decade or so. I started helping women and men with diastasis recti, core dysfunction, pelvic floor issues about 15 years ago because it was my own story. And that's chapter 2 in my book. So over the years, I had started putting different pieces together from chiropractic therapy, physical therapy, yoga practices, Pilates practices, holistic practices. And because I've been in fitness for, now for 27 years. So I've been in fitness for a long time in every possible way, group exercise, personal training, all the things. When I started melding all of that together, the people that I was helping started recovering and healing their core. And here's what's really important. They don't have to stop coming to their fitness classes, to their trainings, to things that matter to them. They just have to do a little bit of a different approach. And so we worked on both the healing and recovery and their full fitness together for just an increase in overall fitness results, productivity, feeling great, all the good things. Well, that has become over the years a book, like I just mentioned. It's called Flatten My Postpartum Belly. It's available on Amazon. A course that's on Udemy called the Diastasis Recti Recovery System that's being used in over 50 countries. And now the ABC method, which is trademark pending, is a certificate program for trainers and instructors to integrate what I do into what they already do. That's why I love it so much. It's not like you're stopping teaching and you go and you teach this format called the ABC method. It is a full fitness integration method. So here's kind of some of my pinpoints that I talk my instructors through: core stability, postpartum, diastasis recti recovery, pelvic floor functional health, and appropriate use in fitness environments. So we go over a little bit of the science of it, but we go a lot through the logistics of what's happening on the inside of the body and how fitness affects those different things that are happening on the inside, and then how to meld our theories together to make a better functional workout for our clients that are struggling. Now, you might have heard this term diastasis recti before, but I need to go over what it is just in case somebody listening to this is not aware of what this is. You have a rectus abdominis muscle that stretches from your ribs to hips. It is the front wall of your abdomen. When that muscle is developed, it looks like 6 or 8 tiny muscles. Some people call it the 6-pack or the 8-pack, but it's actually just one long muscle. When that muscle is pushed out and away from the body, at some point, it's pushed past its limit of flexibility, and the inside down that vertical center can open up. It can overstretch and open up. And so there'll be a muscle on either side, and then sort of some thin fascia that loosely holds the body together at that point. And it's like, okay, well, what's the big deal with that? Well, there's a lot of big deals to diastasis recti. One would be that the muscles are apart, and that means that there is sensitive organ in between the muscle halves that are exposed and could herniate and could cause some disruption. Can also cause problems in digestion. That's what I hear a lot from my people. It also protrudes quite often. So you might have a client that says something like, why is the rest of me getting all fit in your class, but my belly is big, or it looks like my belly is still pregnant? That's why, because the muscle is actually pushing and pressing out because it's open in that center and it's sort of falling out of the body. So that's a concern, and it's beyond an aesthetic concern. It's a concern that the muscle is not functioning, not able to function properly. And a lot of times it works in conjunction with the pelvic floor, and there's pelvic floor dysfunction as well. It can cause back issues as well, because the whole core, of course, is connected. And so if the belly is having trouble, a lot of times the back will have trouble too. So here's a little picture of it on the top right-hand side. You've got a normal rectus abdominis on the left, and you've got one that's divided down the center on the right, just to show you kind of what it could look like. Now, the length of this rectus abdominis, you can see it's all the way from the sternum down to the pubic bone. It can divide around the navel, it can divide up by the sternum, it can divide down low, or it can be the entire rectus abdominis. All of that matters. And it matters whether or not the entire muscle is divided or whether it's just the top of the muscle fiber tissue. All of that matters. And we talk about all of that and what that could mean for your client's performance. Causes. This is important. Causes. Everybody has heard this term in conjunction with pregnancy, probably, but I get probably one message a day from a man who says, you know, that thing you do to help the ladies, does it apply to me too? Yes. So men get diastasis recti as well, and it's on the increase big time in men. That's why this is not a postpartum certificate course. This is diastasis recti and core stability course, because men and women who have never been pregnant are struggling with this as well. It can show up in many times in life. So our guys, if they gain a lot of weight in the middle of their body, that fat layer underneath the muscle does the same thing to the muscle that a pregnancy would, and it can open in the middle. Also, men that are lifting really heavy weights, or women that are lifting really heavy weights, if they mess up on their form or they train improperly, that muscle can open up as well. I've also seen this in clients that have an eating disorder. So here's some very telling numbers. This is what we're looking at when people are coming into our classrooms or getting trainings from us. And these numbers are low. You might know, you might recognize that many people are not diagnosed with diastasis recti, and they might be walking around with it. This is not terminology that is regularly used in the medical industry. They know what it is. It is never automatically checked for in a patient, no matter what that patient has been through. It is not an auto check. It is not part of the postpartum checkup. It is not part of a checkup for a man that has AAA, which, as you can see here, 65% of men with that aortic valve dysfunction have diastasis recti as well. It's not checked in people that have struggled with obesity. It's not checked in people that are complaining about pelvic floor problems. It is not checked in the medical industry. So to say that 60% of women are diagnosed with it at 6 weeks past postpartum would be a severe under number. It would be under, what am I trying to say? You know what I mean? It is underreported a lot. Most midwives and doulas are now checking for it, but most Western physician doctors will not check for diastasis. And in fact, if you have a client struggling with it and they go to their physician, they have to bring it up. And a lot of times they have to be very insistent about it in order to get an official diagnosis. So a lot of times Diastasis recti is left to the client, to the individual to figure out what to do, which causes a lot of confusion because most people will go to Dr. Google, right? And they will, it's now kind of a buzzword in some communities. And so they'll find something that says diastasis recti, do this one exercise every day for the next 3 days and you'll be healed. And they do that and then they're not healed and then they think they're a loser. And that's not accurate. So the numbers here are extraordinary and the undervaluation of this issue is extraordinary. So that is why the ABC method instructors are so valuable as a person to talk to, as a person with some background knowledge and education to help people, and as a referral out. You know, I tell my instructors all the time, we are not supposed to be physical therapists. We are not supposed to be chiropractic therapists. We are supposed to refer people out. What we are supposed to do is help them in their fit life appropriately. And the method that I teach helps people do that. Almost 100% of pregnancies have a level of diastasis by week 36. So to think that almost every woman that's ever had a baby has had some level of diastasis and then to think it just magically disappears is highly inaccurate. For some people, I call them my natural core engagers. For some people, they recover quickly and easily through self-discovery after being pregnant. But for most people, they need a little extra guidance and a little extra help. And that is why we're here. So the ABC method works like this. The ground floor of everything that I teach in my fitness life starts with ABC, alignment, breathing, core engagement. That's where everything starts. That's where everything goes. That's where everything goes back to. It's like the slab of my building. That is the most important element. And that's why it's called the ABC method. It always goes back to that. So if we can teach people this method that starts, ends, and always goes back there, then they always have a foundation to go to. And we can teach them when they're starting. We can teach them all the way through their recovery process, and we can teach them progressions as they progress out of the injury and moving forward into their fitness. They never have to leave your class. They never have to leave your instruction. You can help guide them all the way through this process and empower them when they're ready for progressing their exercise past our basic modification method. On top of the ABC method, of course, is that we teach healthy lifestyle and fitness, because without those things, we're not giving people the complete puzzle. But if we start and ground everything in the ABC method, healthy lifestyle and fitness fit on top like a building, and it works beautifully for my clients and for my instructors who have gone through this method with me. So here's what we do. I start you through learning about diastasis recti, core dysfunction, and pelvic floor issues. We talk about how your client can self-diagnose that or how you can lead your client to discover it. Then we go through specific strengthening exercises that really help with those deep core muscles, and we talk about how it functions in daily life and everything that they do in their basic alignment, breathing, and core engagement. All of that fits together. Then in module 3, we talk about fitness. How do we teach someone that walks into our class that's struggling with this? How do we teach them a fitness class appropriately? And that takes a lot of our time, but it's valuable, valuable time to spend on things like, well, how would I do this exercise? How can I tweak this exercise? What's a nuance about this exercise? How can I do this so that my client is getting the best possible experience with me? And it's all possible. I've taught 45-minute classes with every type of person in my classroom, everything from Mr. Fitness Addict to a woman who's just had a baby. And I can give them clues and cues like that that allow every range of person to have success in that classroom. And that's what we want. We don't want someone to feel like they don't belong or they're not included just because they're struggling somewhere. And then module 4 is progress. So again, teaching them from that day that they start with you all the way through these issues that they're having. But then when they start to see and feel change, that we help them progress forward, that we help move their fit life forward. And here are some of my clients, and you can see that, these are all basically 6 to 8 weeks of going through one of my processes, and it's life-changing. It's not just aesthetic. Of course, that's the only thing I can take a picture of. But to give you an example, I was teaching a woman who had triplet boys 7 years ago, and she didn't understand why her body didn't just rubber band itself back. And when I started working with her and started digging deeper and asking a lot of questions, I discovered that she was having trouble with incontinence, both in urinary and bowel incontinence, and wearing a full-on diaper all the time and never knew when anything was going to leak out of her. Now, to me, that is not freedom. Besides that, she had back pain, she had a protruding abdomen, and her ribs were out of alignment. So, first of all, FYI, I did not do this by myself. I referred her to a physical therapist and a chiropractor. But as we worked together on the ABC method and her fitness, her diastasis closed up. This is within 6 weeks. And she was no longer wearing a diaper. And that is freedom. Freedom for her, freedom for her family. She was able to do things again and feel strong again and be empowered in her body again. And that is where the power is. So here's just a couple of reviews. My book has gone to lots of professionals, and they keep them on their bookshelves. Physical therapists and chiropractors around the country loan my book out. And people that have actually taken my method, either by the book or by my course, or some people one-on-one training with me, or even just coming to class, have had an amazing result and experience from learning the ABC method and being empowered in their fitness. So here's what we do. I personally lead certificate classes. This is not a go at your own pace class. However, you have a handbook and you have a whole bunch of videos. And I really like the video list because not only do we go over it in the certificate class, but then you can go back and refer. We see each other and we work together via Zoom, like what I'm on right now. And we talk through all of these elements of the ABC method with specific practice so that you feel it on your own body, so that we can experience each other going through the method and the program. So there's about 6 hours of us visiting, talking with each other, working through the method together. And then it takes about 5 or 6 hours of personal practice time, which I respect. And of course, as you learn and develop this method, you continue to practice on your own body and in your classroom. And you also discover cues, little things that you can say that change how someone approaches an exercise. And then another part that I really love is the continuing education piece. My instructors are all in a Facebook group with me. So we visit in the Facebook group and we talk about real issues in the Facebook group. And then we get back on Zoom once a month for an hour, and we talk through any other specifics that have come up that month. So it's not like you certify train with me and then I dump you off at all. And I'm not asking for a membership fee. It is the one-time fee to take the certificate course. And the reason that I have built so much time into continuing education is because I know that stuff comes up after you leave that class. And I don't want you to feel like you don't have the answers to go back and help someone with something. I want you to continue to learn and grow and be able to pay it forward. The ripple effect that this could create in the long term is the most incredible thing that I could imagine. Because I've spent all these years working with all of these clients and people all over the world, but I always knew that starting with the teachers, the people that care, the trainers, the instructors, that is the real ripple effect. That is why this is my baby project right now and something that I'm so super excited about. The ABC method is approved by American Council on Exercise, NASM, and AFA. So it is 1.2 hours for NASM and ACE and 12 hours on AFA. It is also endorsed by Fit for Mom. So what we're doing right now, if you go over to the abcmethod.com right now, you'll see a calendar. And that calendar is for open enrollments. In other words, anybody, anywhere that wants to learn this method and pop into an open enrollment can enroll. In fact, you're not required to have a previous certification. My folks that have gone through it so far have, but if you are so inclined and you don't have a certification and you just want to teach this stuff, then I'll teach you the method too. That is great. Also happening are private enrollments, which you won't see on the abcmethod.com. And so, for instance, we have a private training this month, as I'm recording this in February of 2021. We have a private group training for specifically Camp Gladiator trainers and instructors on the weekend of February 26th to 28th. And that to me is very valuable because we can go into the specifics of what exactly you need to know to teach successful boot camp for folks that are coming in with these issues. So if you want to do a private instruction training, you send me a message on my cell phone that you see there or on my email address that you see there. You let me know about the group that wants to study privately together. It could be that you're in a gym together. It could just be a network of instructors that you work together, whatever. And we figure out what days will work best for your group. So those are your choices. Open enrollment, which is on the calendar on the abcmethod.com, or give me a call, send me an email, tell me about your group, and we'll set up a private. You still get the same amount of attention, amount of time. Everything is the same, whether you're open enrollment or private. The difference would be that privates are specific to whatever that group wants and needs. So it starts with me discovering a little bit about that group and then being able to pour into those people what they need to know to pay this method forward and to teach with it. I am going to stop my share right there. And right now this is being recorded. I'm going to turn the recording off and I'm going to see if there are any questions for the folks that showed up live today. I appreciate your time.